Died in auto wrecks. Anybody left on SCIS that had died.
Oh, yeah. Wants to do hello.
It was on there right away, wasn't it?
MacGyver didn't die, did he?
I'll be on Facebook.
You're in line with all that. That is, yeah.
I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, July 7th meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call to establish a quorum, please.
Mayor Ricky Williams Jr.,
Present.
Vice Mayor Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Alderman John Cooper.
Here. Here.
Thank you. Doug Arns.
Here.
Jaleel Jones. Tricia Teague.
Present.
Sherry Pickering.
Here.
Rick Streebing.
Here.
Mike Poore.
Present.
Mike O'Kane.
Here.
Barry Johnson.
Present.
Tom Hightower.
Here.
James Pashard.
Present.
Carolyn DeToy.
Present.
Ed Butler.
Present.
13 present.
13 present. We do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Pastor Doug Knapp, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Arns. Please rise.
Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for our city and that we're blessed with the privilege of living here. We pray for every leader in this city, according to 1 Timothy 2, the mayor, the city council, and all others in authority. I pray that they would govern justly and with godly wisdom. I pray for strength and blessing for them.
Yes, Lord.
I pray for a spirit of harmony and cooperation among all of our city leaders, that they remove any selfish ambition or partisan division and replace it with a shared vision of our city's prosperity. Grant them the courage to always choose integrity, even when it might be difficult.
Yes, Lord.
Father, we know that leading a city can be an unrelenting job, a heavy burden at times.
Oh, yes.
And I ask that you would provide these leaders with physical, emotional, and spiritual rest.
Yes, Lord.
Strengthen their families of the city.
Yes.
Protect
you.
them, their marriages, their children.
Yes, Lord.
And we ask the same for those who sacrifice so much to watch over us
Yes, Lord.
and protect us. I will end with this scripture out of Colossians. It says, "So we have not stopped praying for you since we first heard about you. I'll stop there and say that's true about you. Because that's what we do in our church and other churches as well. We ask God to give you complete knowledge of His will and to give you spiritual wisdom and understanding. And the way that you live will always honor and praise God. And your lives will produce every kind of good fruit. All the while, you will grow as you learn to know God better and better.
Yes,
I declare
Lord.
that now in Jesus' name.
Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Doug. We appreciate you. Thank you, Alderman. Any updates you would like to give us about things that have happened recently or events you have coming up at the church?
Well, it's summer, so we have had a couple of things already for some of the some students who've been gone to camp. Some of them, we've had some basketball things going on in our church, but also we've got our vacation Bible school, which is always what we look forward to for the kids. It's a lot of work, but it's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So we're doing really well, but at the same time giving everybody a little bit of a break because it is vacation time. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Pastor Doug. We appreciate you all and everything that Hope Unlimited does for the community. You have before you the minutes of June 16th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. You also have before you an agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you very much. We do not have any proclamations or board committee or personnel appointments. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions this evening? Seeing none, I do have just a couple of items of information. First, I wanted to congratulate Carl Carpenter on his retirement, 26 years with the city of Danville. Carl did not want to be recognized in any way. He actually refused, and so, but I cannot let the day go by without saying a few words. Quite honestly, he came to us at a time when we were in transition, and the way he treated the people that worked for him, I think, spoke volumes about him, and also the way he treated our citizens in such a respectful and considerate way. It built a lot of morale. It built a lot of work ethic. I think at the end, Carl was tired, and I appreciate the fact that a good leader realizes, when it's time for your next phase, and he was ready for a next phase of life. And so we wish him well. Thank him again for his leadership. He did a lot of great things for this community. So, Carl, we wish you well, brother. Enjoy your retirement. Yes, Mr. Butler.
Yes, I'd like to also ditto to that, Mayor, about Carl. I've known Carl, just about all his life. And, and I had he was part of my life. And I was part of his during Little League football. And I watched him grow it up. And it does me good to the fact that as the years went by, I had an opportunity to work with him by me being on the council. And, and he's an employee. And I knew that when you had Carl, you had a good man, and a man of integrity. Believe in what's right, and I'm sure that he helped us a lot, within this city. And I'm going to have to talk to him, but I didn't know he was that old there to retire. He's making me old.
Well, Mr. Butler, I still remember our youth NAACP meetings when we got started. I was our chaplain, and you were our advisor meeting down in Shiloh. So hopefully that don't make we're celebrating our 30th this summer. So hopefully that don't make you feel too old either.
Man, there you go.
All right. Second thing I want to let you know, I want to thank our our comptroller, Alyssa Sweeten, and our director of Mass Transit, Steve White, and all of their teams for all of the work that they have done to get us Medicare and Medicaid certified. We have received that approval, which will help us better transport people throughout the entire county. So thank you guys and your teams for your efforts on that. We will be releasing more information about that soon. Third, just want to remind everyone that temporarily code enforcement and legal are out at Public Works. And if you need help, they can see you personally there, as they always have been able to upstairs, except for the last few weeks. And then last but not least, I just want to say that we celebrated our 250th anniversary as a country this past weekend. And while we certainly still have our challenges and our areas where we need to improve and grow, I thank God for America. I thank God for the freedoms that we possess. I thank God for those who have sacrificed to make sure we have those freedoms. And despite any challenges that we have, I still believe that this is the greatest nation in the earth. And I want to thank God for the freedoms. I want to thank God for everyone who's worked so hard to make all of our lives better. So.
That's right. Thank you.
At this time, Madam Clerk, do we have any petitions, communications, or audience comments?
We do. When I call your name, please come to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Carolyn Burke.
Good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day out, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm here in regards to some concerns regarding fireworks. I believe that there is still fireworks at the stadium, the grotto, the Legion. I'm not sure about that. However, I live on Gilbert Street, and I was finishing watching the president and so forth for the 4th of July, and I about fell out of bed because it sounded like a bomb went off just shortly down the street from me. Come to find out that there was a gentleman with fireworks, and across the street, I could see that this particular property has a tree, and around this was fireworks all the way up. And it's my understanding, of course, in Illinois and here in Danville, that fireworks are banned. I hope that's the correct information that I have received. But my really concern is that it always seems like someone gets injured. Not only that, if we have rules, I think they need to be followed. Second of all, I watched a police car and a county police car just drive right through where this was happening. That concerns me. If we have laws, aren't we supposed to follow the laws? I thought we were, but apparently there are some people that feel like that they don't need to do that, and there apparently are people that are in the position to be able at least to stop and inquire. Perhaps this person could have been new and did not understand that fireworks are not the thing anymore. There's fireworks displays. I know at one time the stadium, the grotto, the Legion, had fireworks, in that, and everybody seemed to enjoy that. I am just really, really, really concerned that we have issues, we have laws, and they're not being followed, and it doesn't seem to me that the powers that be are actually doing anything about it. I guess that's basically all I have to say. I just feel like that every year, and I haven't heard whether there's been any children or adults or anyone that have been hurt, but it seems like that does happen. And maybe some of you feel like this is immaterial. I don't. I really don't. Because like I said, something went off almost like a bomb, and I literally almost fell out of my bed. So I guess we can discuss that and see if there needs to be something else done at that time of year.
Thank you, Mrs. Burke.
I beg your pardon?
I said thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me discuss this with you this evening.
PJ Bourne.
Okay, I am here asking for an update on this status.
We can't hear about, that mic's not on or something.
Mrs. Bourne, if you'll give us just one moment, please, and we'll make sure we restart your time. There we go. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Got it? Okay.
There we go. We can hear you now.
Amen. As I was saying, I'm here to get an update as to what I've been asking for over a year. And I do know that there have been situations where you may have had an opportunity to speak about or discuss the letter that I gave to the city council the last time I was here. And I'm here to see if we've gotten an update on that because, again, there has nothing changed. I am still at that present location. I yet have no neighbors, and I am the only one there. So I'm requesting that you are revisit. I don't know if you have already done that or not, but I'd like to know when you will and if there's a time frame that I should expect or look forward to you all sharing with me the update from the city council pertaining to my request, which is the changing of my street. Again, if I'm the only one there and it's a dead end and a cul-de-sac, and I have no one else to answer to as far as just bringing it to the city council, and I've also witnessed here at the city council where there have been situations and statements made to clarify as even bringing people onto the scene as far as being an alderman. Those statements and those situations have been made right here in my presence when they were asked to have other people to come in and have people join in and put them on payroll. Those statements and those issues was made right here in my presence. And so I think with that being in mind, we can also make this situation just as much as we have with those as well. So again, I'm here for an update as to my street change, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And if you could give me a time frame as to when I should expect that, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Bourne.
You're welcome.
Hope Garrett.
Hi there. I am just here with shortest comment all night. I just wanted to update everybody with some good news because we can always use good news, right? So the Go Foundation, which some of you are familiar with, probably a lot are not. The whole tiny homes micro communities was my baby and still is. We filed our 501c3 application with the IRS. So we are making forward progress. And then to that end, when that's approved, I guess my question would be, how would I go about bringing all of you up to speed? Because you're all in different places as to what I've told you and opportunities to talk to you. But it is something obviously that affects the city and to some degree will require some city approval to do. So just let me know how that process works and how to go about that.
Thank you, Mrs. Garrett.
Catherine Ewing.
Hi, as you know, I'm with the Danville Rescue, and I'm coming here to plead with the community pretty much and plead with y'all about Danville Rescue.
There you go. Oh, it died again.
I don't think it's on.
Is it on?
Hold on, hold on. He's getting-
I'm sorry, Mrs. Ewing, hold on just a moment. I apologize. I'm not sure what's happening.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
You're good to go.
Okay,
Sorry.
thank you. The reason why I'm here is to, I'm grateful for y'all. I really am for the city of Danville to help us outreach with the homeless. But I'm here now just speaking like we do need the community to back us up. We are at our peaks. And the reason why this touch home, because I was homeless. I don't want Danville Rescue to shut down, But I'm just saying is our donations and the thrift store, the income and the finances have, they're not giving as much. So that's a real concern to me. I mean, the homeless men, there are for women, but there's none for the men. And I don't want the men to be out on the street. We just opened up where we agreed where we can have a cooling and heating facility. When it gets real, real hot, then women and men can come in and stay cool and not be overheated. And same thing in the winter. But when you don't have as much income coming in now, I'm just asking for, even if it's $1, $2, just a monthly, partnership with us. That's what I'm asking. And I'm asking like every single one of everybody in here, because it's a community. It's just not falls on Danville. It don't fall on us. Yes, we're tired. And I know I'm tired, and I know my husband's tired. But we need the community to help us, to continue to leave these doors open for these men. That's why I'm here, because I know that our money is little donations. And I know if God says that, have faith in him, and I do, but I needed to, to also inform y'all, like, people think that because y'all helping us, that we don't need the help, but we still do. Because we still need to feed them. We still need to make sure, and the other organizations, nonprofits, I know they say they reach out to us, but they haven't, or they haven't, communicated with us. So.
Thank you, Mrs. Ewing.
Brad Zerman.
Good evening. I wanted to begin by highlighting some of the benefits of Illinois' new cannabis omnibus bill and what it means for our community. We're currently awaiting final approval from the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation for our drive-through service. Once approved, it will provide a safe and convenient way to access our products. We may become the first licensed cannabis drive-through in Illinois. The bill also allows all dispensaries to become medical. 7 Point will soon be able to serve patients directly. We're already hosting medical cannabis certification workshops to help individuals obtain their medical cannabis card, which will save them money on taxes. 7 Point was recently awarded a prestigious CRI seed funding grant through the University of Illinois for our harm reduction and opioid alternative education initiative, strengthening our commitment to improving public health. Another important part of the bill has not yet taken effect. The regulations governing intoxicating hemp products become enforceable in November. Until then, intoxicating hemp products such as hemp flower, vape pens, and many other products continue to be sold in gas stations, smoke shops, and other retail locations. My question for the council is, what is the city's plan to ensure those new regulations are enforced once they take effect in November? Effective local enforcement will be critical to protecting consumers, especially young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zerman.
Michael Ewing.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to piggyback off of my wife. She's the softer side of this outfit. I'm not. I'm tired. I'm just griping a little bit, preaching to the choir over. But this is one platform to get it out. We talked a lot of talk about homeless and helping, but we don't help. We don't need more hearts, likes. You can share all you want. We need some help. It's not my baby. It's not my wife's baby. It's a Danville problem. We appreciate the city has stepped up. They've done us. If there's any way, mayor and the council, whoever, we can speed up the monies for the 2,500. I had Aqua come today to threaten to cut the water off. We've had to reduce the hours for the employee at the thrift store because people are human. Summertime, what we do, we go on vacations. We send our kids on trips. We do honey-do lists around the house. We spend money elsewhere, so the first thing cuts off, you go down the list of things that you just don't have to have. And giving a lot of money other than your tithes, and things that you obligated to God, but a lot of charitable things suffer. and Danville Rescue suffers. I get upset when I look in the community. I've applied with Danville Custard Cup for the Scoops of Love. I've applied, we've had grants, we get turned down. What else do we have to do? I was told that I'm a beggar for Danville Rescue. I'm a man of God, I'm not begging. Only way we sustain ourselves this far, to my belief, is from God. The people give, but we need more big shots to get involved. Have you donated? Have you sent some money and put it on our Tithely? Have you, as a representative of Danville, an alderwoman, alderman, have you done anything besides talk about it? Talk is cheap. We open up warming center for everybody, cooling center. We run central air all day, praying that God's going to give us money for the power bill. If we close, what do we say then? Oh, we failed again. Come on. And I'm preaching, I'm a little upset, but I'm hurt because when County Market closed, they said that they reached out and gave the food away. They never reached out. That's all sounds good. You would think Danville Rescue would be on the top of the list for any donations because we're the only overnight shelter that feeds them. We feed them now during the cooling days. We feed them all day. I've got to get on Facebook and beg for ice. I went and bought bags of ice out of my own pocket. These are the things, Gatorade, popsicles, things that we say that we help and we want to help, but what do? We come here and we listen to me and Kat cry, and then that's it till the next meeting. God bless y'all. Thank y'all.
Mr. Ewing. Thank you, Mr. Ewing.
Carrie McKenna.
Well, I'm back. For mainly, I think it's a good thing I wasn't here at the last meeting when the president of Crime Stoppers was here, because there was an egregious amount of misinformation shared that is easily verifiable by doing a simple Google search or going to the Crime Stoppers USA or the Illinois State Crime Stoppers website. First off, money is not paid out at conviction. It is paid out at arrest. No one is going to wait around 4 or 5 years for a payout, first off. Second, half the time the state's attorney drops or pleads things down anyways, and who's to say that's not a loophole? Anyway, I won't get into that because that's just not a thing anyway. But second is there is way more and this is where it kind of gets personal for me. This is why I'm such an advocate for this. This is a very personal thing for me that I promised someone I would not raise hell about it until she passed away, which she recently passed away, so now I'm raising hell. But my second point is that there are more updated, modernized ways of paying out tips than meeting someone in a parking lot. They now can do it to where you can have an agreement with local banks. You get prior agreements, of course, with the banks. You take in that envelope with the money for the tipster that just has a confirmation number. That person can go anytime that they feel comfortable going. You can put a time limit, 30, 60, 90 days. If you don't pick it up, then that's on you. Also, there is a virtual way now. It can go straight to a virtual gift card that has no name attached to it. You add it to your Apple Pay, your Google Wallet, whatever, boom. Then you can send it to your own bank account or whatever you want to do. My last issue is knowing that there was no tips last year and, one year before, why are we doing $4,000 to $7,000 a year in expenses? What are we expending? What is that money going for? And since, mind you, this is being funded by taxpayer funds, and there are laws that restrict this, I did have it wrote down. I don't know if I ended up, oh no, by then I was angry writing. But when a private charity receives taxpayer monies, that said government entity is required to have a yearly audits/oversight over that money. And that money is only to be spent specifically on the majority purpose of that charity. So I'm curious, what are we expending $4,000 to $7,000 a year for Crime Stoppers if they're not doing nothing? And I mean, that's my main issue is where's the money going?
Thank you, Ms. McKenna.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Thank you. You have before you payrolls of June 19th, June 26th, and July 2nd. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Strebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. You also have before you the vouchers payable of June 18th, June 20, and July 7th, as well as special runs of July 20, June 23rd, June 24th, June 29th, and June 30th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Yes, Ms. Teague.
I have a question on the July 7th vouchers. Item number 115, which is for Sanford Hess Consulting. It says deliverable zero ERP consulting tips contract. Curious to know what the ERP consulting and tips contract are.
So, can you guys hear me? Okay. So basically what we did was we had to do like a pre-assessment of our current systems, like what we currently have. Since we have different systems, they don't talk to each other and things like that. It was really difficult for us to kind of, try to get a good handle on, the integration part of it. That was our biggest challenge. So Sanford Hess, he used to be the previous IT director in Urbana. And he's retired and he's been doing this consulting for other municipalities in implementing ERP solutions. So he has a lot of experience. He has 20 years of experience in the ERP area because he used to work for ERP companies in the past. And so we needed some help trying to figure out, do an assessment. What that does is it saves us a lot of time and money going forward, because if you put this out there for RFP, it's going to be costing us 3 times the amount or maybe even more to get them to do it. So this will help us to do that pre-assessment and go forward with our next phase, which is the RFP process. And he's going to help us. He's been helping us. We are already through about 80% of the work already done. And then he's going to help us fix some of the quick wins where we can get some integrations done, and also possibly help us in the implementation process.
And Alderman Teague, ERP is our financial software.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any questions? Any other?
And what's TIPS? Is that an acronym also?
The TIPS?
Mm-hmm.
TIPS is the co-op. He's on the co-op thing, so we didn't have to. We originally thought about going off for RFP, but since he's already on the TIPS contract, which is the co-op purchasing contract. Yeah.
Alderman Teague, any further questions?
No, that was my only question.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman DeToy,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Strebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we'll receive our Public Services Committee report. Chairman Strebing.
All right, 11A, from Public Services, we have a resolution authorizing additional workman's compensation premium to the Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, ICR-MT, for payroll audit adjustments. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 11A's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Strebing,
Yes?
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig, Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
DeToy.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, thank you. Puts us 11B, you have a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding, MOU, between the City of Danville, Danville Police Department, and Cross Point Human Services. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 11B's resolution? Yes, Mr. Cooper.
Chris, you just want to explain this to the people who weren't here last week?
Yes, actually, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, so this is something that we had considered and talked about the needs that we have for the police department as well in serving the community in areas that better way of saying it, often law enforcement handles different situations that are beyond the criminal element. There may be a criminal element involved, however, that is the result rather than sometimes the cause. We look at different things and partnerships that we have with state agencies such as TASK and the deflection and DART program and referrals for mental health, substance abuse, and other types of counseling. So far, that relationship's been very good, but the biggest problem that we have is that pause in between potential time for intervention and other needs and getting someone that's there able to talk to a person. We looked at what resources we have in the community and what relationships that are currently very solid, which we have good relationships with several. However, we knew that Cross Points was was an excellent partner in dealing with different circumstances where there may be another agency that really could take the forefront, but Cross Points has always stepped up. I reached out to Cross Points and I said, hey, what would it look like, or if it is even a possibility to where we have a social worker that is trained, employed, paid, and under the supervision of Cross Points, but embedded within the police department, to where they would not be responding to calls for service. They would not be responding instead of a police officer. However, once the different scenes are clear and made safe, or we determine that this could be better handled in a non-criminal manner, or it's not a criminal matter whatsoever, but these people definitely need some type of intervention or someone to talk to. That's going to get that pause or that gap in between request and service provided in mental health, substance abuse, or a large array of different areas that we deal with, but we are not the experts at it. And that's where that gap with Cross Points and where they would be able to help us. And Ms. Rhodes and her team stepped up and said, absolutely, we'd be more than interested in it. We've met multiple times, gone over different things, and then they submitted, before we can go any further and them either hiring or assigning someone to that position, we had to have an MOU as well as the job description and all that set out before they can even put it out there to advertise. So everything is in order, except this is that next step before we can get something moving. And we were hoping for a September, October start date. We will house the person as far as providing an office and workspace, and then they'll provide everything else.
So the position of this law enforcement crisis worker, that's funded by them?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I got.
Any other questions? Yes.
Just curiously, as far as, because it all happens at such random hours, are they available for on-call, other shifts and things of that nature, or has that level of scheduling even been discussed yet?
No, we've discussed it, but like I said, we had to get and I believe Cross Point's representatives are here. They may be able to explain a little bit more as to what they see it moving in the future, but a lot of it's going to have to do with funding and sustainability of funding, which, that's what they're working on. But we're hoping it's going to be something that's going to be readily available during peak hours, and that's where we're going to start. We're looking at peak hours. It's not something that's, first shift only, but peak hours, and then how can we move forward once we work out the little incidental tweaks that need to be worked out.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this resolution? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Strebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes.
DeToy,
Yes.
14 yes.
Yes, thank you. 11C, accept and place on file the Treasurer's Report for April of 2026. I'll need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any questions on 11C? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Items of information, I've got one. This Saturday, Gale Grotto will have fireworks. Rain date is going to be the 12th. $2 per adult. Kids 5 to 12 are free. So come out and have a good time. We'll try to pack the place. And if you do come out, please listen to how they tell you to park, because you'll love it when you get ready to leave, because it can be a madhouse out there. So that takes care of everything we had for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairman. This time I'll receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Poor.
Thank you, Mayor. We will meet in these chambers next Tuesday, 6 p.m. Everyone is welcome.
Thank you, Chairman. There are two items of information that we talked about, are aldermanic pay and the potential change in the treasurer solution. So I will first turn it over to Corporation Counsel Parker to talk to you briefly about alderman pay, and then open the floor for discussion.
So,
Corporation Counsel, we need your microphone.
So the alderman's compensation is currently set by ordinance. The Illinois Municipal Code does allow for compensation to be paid annually or for each meeting attended. It cannot be increased or decreased during the fiscal year for which the appropriation is made. Salaries or compensation can't be increased or decreased during their term. It must be fixed at least 180 days before the beginning of the term of the officers whose compensation is to be fixed, so the beginning of your next term. Like I said, it can be, currently it's annually and it's compensated monthly, but it can be by ordinance changed to be paid out per each meeting attended.
So I know that many years ago as an alderman, I proposed that we instate per diem, that meaning as Corporation Counsel has said that you be paid per meeting. At that time, we weren't successful. Since that time, we had a lot of issues at that time with attendance, right? We had one alderman, my fellow alderman in Ward 1 didn't attend. Alderman Butler, you'll recall most of the meetings, and it was frustrating because the people didn't have their voice at the table. Thankfully, we have not had that problem in recent times. However, we could have that problem again. Paying per meeting would be one way to incentivize folks to actually be in attendance. However, there is a lot of work that goes on outside of the meetings as well. So I know that that's one of the reasons why previously folks had said, no, we don't believe in a per diem, because folks are doing a lot of work outside of the meeting as well. So I know it's one of those things that can go either way. Just for clarification, we cannot be paid per meeting for committee meetings, so it would be based on attendance at city council meetings. Any discussion on the matter? What I'm hoping for is some advisement or guidance for you all on how you would like to proceed moving forward, if it's something we wish to change or if it's something that we wish to remain the same. Yes, Chairman Poor.
Per diem at the beginning of the meeting or at the end of the meeting? Roll call.
That's something we'd have to decide.
Because you could have people pop in, I showed up, I leave, and don't participate in the meeting.
Alderman Poor.
I'm
sorry, Alderman R.
Yeah, that's my two items that I would like to have included that we have discussed previously is one, the ability of an alderman to waive their pay if they so chose. That was something that I'd previously inquired about and something that I think should be an option for the alderman. The second would be is concurring with what Mayor Williams indicated, is that if it has to be based on the city council meetings, then per diem per council meeting, I guess, is what I support. I don't disagree there's a lot of work that goes on outside, or I would say there's a lot of work that can go outside. Doesn't mean it happens. And, you know, I sat here for many of those years when packets were opened up here at the dais. And so I don't know any way around that other than holding it for the accountability at the city council meetings, if that's the way the statute is written. So,
you know, the bottom line is you do your business, most of your business, the official business at the council meetings when you vote. If you are not here to vote, then you are not here to represent the voice of your people. You know, my only other concern is that sometimes you have people that are legitimately sick or other things like that. And you know, there's a part of me that says I wouldn't want people to miss out for that reason. But at the same time, if you're not here, you can't do the people's business, period, because you're not able to vote, right? Alderman Butler.
Yes, I was going to say that as we come to our meetings, that doesn't mean that the aldermen are not working. If you only knew how many calls I got, you know, within the past 3 or 4 days. And, you know, Mr. Butler said, you're my alderman, and I got some issues, in which I'm going to bring some up here during our item of information. Is that, I mean, to pay a alderman or not pay an alderman for not showing up to a meeting, that doesn't mean he's not still working for this council. He might not come to, you know, make it to the meeting or say anything about what he doesn't discuss until he get further information and he show up at the next meeting. And, you know, to argue the case about, you know, his constituents that's in his ward. And so I kind of think that would be like unfair to an alderman, you know, just because if they don't come to a meeting, they just might have, like you say, a vital excuse for not being to the meeting. So are we going to scrutinize that alderman for not showing up? I mean, he might be sick or he might be at a conference. And, you know, I got to talk to Rachel this week there because I'm going to be gone for the next 2 weeks. And, you know, at a conference that's, you know, beyond my control that I have to be there. And so am I going to be scrutinized for just going to another conference? But at the same time, while I'm at my conference, I'm getting calls. They're from my constituents. And so am I not to answer those calls or talk to them and, hey, wait until I get back, you know, to the council meeting and then I'll discuss it, or wait until I get back in town? I mean, you know, we get meetings or we get calls, whether we're out of town, vacations or what have you. We always taking care of our constituents out there that needs help.
Ms. Teague, did you?
Yes, I have previously proposed both in this cycle as well as the last time this was discussed, which I believe would have been prior to the last mayoral election, that alderman pay should increase. What I originally proposed in the conversations that I had with the late Alderman Iverson, we came to a conciliation and met in the middle in terms of what alderman pay should increase to, and it was increased 3 years ago. But I was a proponent for it to be higher, with it also then being tied to attendance. And although I feel I can understand and appreciate the arguments that have been made as it relates to aldermen do a lot of work outside of attending meetings, which is true and is accurate, it's also not necessarily required. But what the expectation is, the minimum expectation is that we are present for votes, because that is what we are elected by our constituents to do. I, as an alderman, personally have advocated and inquired about issues both in and outside of my ward, because in my estimation, just because a person doesn't live in my neighborhood doesn't mean that they're still not a constituent of the city and deserve to have their issues addressed. I am aware of times in the past when prior aldermen were not present and were very rarely present, and also have been a person who in the past had a hard time getting in touch with an alderman or even seeing an alderman, which is one of the reasons why I'm an alderman now. So I definitely appreciate the amount of work and effort that we all put into representing the citizens. But the minimum requirement is, to me, that's like any job. The minimum requirement is that you be present and actually doing the work. And if so, then you should be compensated for that. And if you're not, then you should not be, because a person who doesn't work doesn't eat. That's how I was raised. And I feel like that is what should be happening here. That's the least that we should be doing for our citizens. I don't feel comfortable with, well, we should all get paid regardless of whether we're here or not. And I think that there could be provisions made for if someone is on a medical situation, a medical leave or something like that, because that's what happens at a job. That's what FMLA is. So the same type of thing could occur if someone has a prolonged illness or hospitalization or something of that nature. I think the other thing that that probably should be addressed if we do decide to go down the path of making it tied to attendance is making sure, somehow accounting for the electronic attendance as well, because that is a provision that I know that I have used. I'm very rarely absent. I try to plan my vacations around Tuesdays and make sure that I don't miss meetings. And I can probably count on one hand the number of meetings that I've missed in the last 4 years or longer. But we would need to account for whether a person is also attending electronically, which I have done. And so I think that that is important. But I do think that it should change. I do think that it should be increased. And I'm saying that it should be increased because when you look at the data on what alderman pay is in other cities, you will see that we are amongst the lowest paid of all cities. And I believe that the last increase that we had was the first increase that had occurred in over 20 years. So if we're increasing salaries to make sure that we have good people who want to be here and are qualified to do the work, then that argument can also then be made for aldermen as well. So I have sent proposals out previously, and I will be happy to share them again in terms of what I thought the pay should be.
Thank you. Alderman Zatoy.
First of all, I think we do have people qualified sitting around this table. I don't think any of us are not qualified to do what we do. But I do think we also have a responsibility. I don't think it necessarily deserves more pay. I think that it should be, as much as anything, a place of service. I do think that if we are going to be absent, and we know we're going to be absent, and we have a reason, a good reason to be absent, sickness or whatever it might be, we need to call either the mayor or whoever it is that's put in charge of receiving that phone call to give an explanation of why we will not be here. I have missed very few meetings, very, very few meetings. I don't miss unless I'm ill or I'm out, gone. But as far as more pay, I would do this job for zero pay because I love the city. So I'm not concerned so much about the pay. I put a lot of time into what I do because I love what I do. But I do think we need to be held responsible. I think you're right. So I think there needs to be someone that we designated that we report to if we're not going to be there and the reason why. And then if it's decided that it's not a legitimate reason, well then maybe that ought to be deducted. But I have been to the walk-in clinic about a half a dozen times in the last 2 weeks. Now, if that had happened during meeting, sorry, I'm going to walk-in clinic. My life is more important. But should I be docked because at the walk-in clinic with an emergency? I don't think so. But do I have a picnic I want to go to? No. You know, we try to teach our children to be responsible for their decisions. I think we need to be responsible for our decisions. If we're going to be gone, whoever's responsible to take that phone call, we need to call and say we're going to be gone for this particular reason. That's my opinion.
Thank you. Alderman Ludwig.
I was just wondering, logistically, if the aldermanic pay based on attendance would be for the 2 city council meetings? Would it be for the 2 city council meetings plus a committee meeting, or would we be responsible to be here for all 4 of the meetings? I just wondered where everybody stood on that.
Alderman, according to the statute, we cannot pay people for committee meetings. You can there are other sorts of compensation you could do for committee meeting, like gas or things like that. I don't think that we want to get into that as a community. So really, it would just be for the 2 council meetings. Now, I hope that everyone would continue to be responsible to show up for their committee meetings. At least they're assigned, if not both of the committee meetings, at least they're assigned committee meeting. The good and the bad part about our committees is that they are basically advisory committees. So everything goes to the council, whether or not it's voted, it's supported, or it's not supported. So really, while your attendance and participation in committee meetings is certainly beneficial, it helps educate you and others. It helps you be able to better communicate and educate your people in your ward and throughout the community. Where the actual vote that matters takes place is in city council.
Mm-hmm. Well, I do feel that's a substantial sum twice in 1 month.
So you would, I mean,
twice in 1 month.
I think what I've heard from several of you is that you would say divide the aldermanic pay in 2. So half for one meeting and half for the other. I think that's what Alderman Teague and others have mentioned as well. That's correct. Mrs. Pickering.
I think I can honestly say I don't think there's one of us on here that comes because of our pay. I mean, we just come because we love our city and we want to represent our constituents. So I am not for a raise, but I am definitely think we need to be held responsible and attend the meeting. So I am in favor of that.
Yes, Alderman Arns.
In follow-up to the discussion and having served on other boards and had similar, policies, based on what I've heard at least, it seems like the per diem is the way to go. I don't really see a base pay plus per diem. It gets into too much paperwork. We need to make this easy for the staff to figure out who's getting paid what. And so then I would then offer up to no more than 2 excused absences for the reasons that are provided by law as to an acceptable reason, similar to the fashion that is used for the remote meetings. So if someone works and they are required by business to be out, fortunately they can participate remotely, so they should be paid as long as they do participate remotely. I hope our state gets its act together and expands that a little bit, recognizing in today's world people can participate in a lot of ways. But I would suggest that addresses the concerns that you would be allowed up to no more than 2. So, that's 24 meetings, you're allowed to miss 2 out of the year and still be paid as long as it was for medical or business or some proper purpose other than the beach or fishing. So that's where I would be. And I'd still like to see the ability to waive pay. I know that's not a popular thing, but for somebody who always intended to work in retirement, I'd rather make the money doing that than having to calculate this as part of my Social Security earnings. So that's why, I'm not encouraging it would be nice if, aldermen have wealth and they're not interested in the wealth that's received here, be able to waive it.
I will clarify that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on that? Yes, Alderman O'Kane.
I think that the county does a per diem, but you can, as long as you call in that you're going to miss a meeting, then you're excused and you get paid. I think they've done that for years.
And to clarify, I would want to cap that. A call-in doesn't get it. I can be sick every Tuesday. Sometimes Tuesdays make you a little ill.
All right, well, I will, we will, with the general overall concurrence of the council, I will have Corporation Counsel. Oh, yes, Alderman T.
I just have one additional comment, which is, I know many of us don't do this for the pay, but I also think that some people don't do it because the pay is so low. And if a person is, especially if they're younger, they're married with children, they might have another job that requires they work late or something of that nature. And if they have to make that trade-off and choose, they might choose, this isn't worth my time and my effort because I'm foregoing too much. So we need to make sure that when we do look at the pay, and I get that some people are saying, well, I don't need the pay and I don't need the increase, which is fine. And some people would want to potentially forego theirs, and they have that option too as well. And I think that anybody who feels like they don't want or need the increase, they have the option to forego the increase if they want to, if we put that in place. But I do think that we have people, especially younger professionals in this city, who might be willing to serve and then look at it and go, I don't want to do that. It's only $300 a month or whatever it is now. And if I've got to take time away from my family, my children, and all of this, and to deal with all of the things that come up, it's not worth my time or my hassle, which then means that the majority of the people who end up serving on this council, and this is not to be offensive, but it's a fact, then you end up with a bunch of retired people because they're the only ones who have the ability to invest the time without taking away from raising families and other things. So if you look at this council, I would say that almost everyone in here has adult children, with the exception of 2 people or single with no children. And so you have a makeup then that is leaning in one direction and is not actually representative of the majority of the community in terms of demographics. And we have to take that into consideration because it's not just about us sitting here, it's also about any future aldermen and anybody else who might want to represent the city to make sure that we have a city that's actually representative of all of the citizens. And even though we try to do our best to represent all of the citizens and what their needs are, we need to be able to have an open door for other people to participate.
Well, I'm going to say, there was like last month and things, I had other places to be because I wear many hats. Matter of fact, thank God we don't have a meeting, I don't have a meeting next week because I have to go out and beg for some help. This is probably the 30th or 40th year, and for some reason, somehow, I'm the go-between guy in between Ambucks, the summer camps out at the Grotto, and getting boat rides for the kids for 2 weeks. A lot of the people that I have that are younger, they don't have the time. They'll say, here's my keys. That doesn't do me any good if I don't have anybody get on the boat. So I have to go and I literally have to request or beg to get them, some of them to come help because we have 60 to 70 kids. Not so bad on the first week when they're little, they got small butts. When The second week comes, you've got 15 and 16-year-olds, Doug, that are bigger than me and you. You can't get that many on a pontoon boat. So some of the reasons why I'm sometimes not here, or I'll be here and I'll take a vote, I have to go because I got to be somewhere else. I made that decision years ago to do it. It's not that I'm trying to shuck on anything, it's just I need to be there. So that's all I have to say.
And it's reasons like that, in helping the community in another way, that we need to have, not necessarily a cap, but reasonable thinking on this is a good reason not to be here, and, well, is this just a way out? That's my thinking, is that we just need to be responsible people for what we've told our constituents that we were going to be. And if caps, I don't know, if we're not more mature than that, than to take advantage of the city in that way, we're in pretty bad shape.
So
We've been there.
I understand your concern, and I agree with most of it. My only thought would be, who determines what's a legitimate reason and not? Because I would like to think that I'm pretty reasonable most of the time, but I may not agree that you're, or, you know, is the clerk going to decide? We wouldn't want to put our staff members in that kind of position. So that's why I think that I would take a shine to Alderman Aron's idea that we just have a cap and say a certain number of days, and if you miss, you know, you're excused until you miss that third time or fourth time, and then there's not any kind of judgment or potential animosity in between executive and or the leadership team that we have and the aldermen. So very good. I will have Corporation Counsel put together some language for us for review and consideration. It sounds like we have some momentum around a per diem with some parameters, and we'll take everything that you all have said into consideration and bring something back for your consideration. So thank you.
I would like to say, just listening to the things that have gone across the table, one thing that comes to mind as we're putting stuff together, if we are truly serious about having a situation where it is inviting for other people other than us retired people being on the boards, we should also be creative enough to develop some strategies that will influence that initiative also as we're putting those things together.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Alderman. The other item that I have for discussion this evening, before we go to general items of information, is potential changes in the treasurer selection. I just wanted to ask Corporation Counsel to take a few moments to outline some of the research that he has done, and then I will open the floor for discussion.
So considering the Illinois Municipal Code and the Illinois State Constitution, there's a position that it can be done, changing the treasurer's position from elected to appointed by ordinance. If that were the case, then the procedure would be adopting the ordinance, calling for or implementing the change. Within that, you'd specify the elimination of the elected treasurer's office, the appointment procedure, which would be the mayor would nominate with city council confirmation by majority vote. Treasurer would take the oath and then serve out the term, either fixed term or at the pleasure of the appointment authority. You'd spell out the qualifications that this council would determine what the qualifications are, the term, as I mentioned, and the effective date, which would be when the current treasurer's term expires. If done by a referendum, then the council adopts a referendum ordinance to place a public question on the ballot asking voters whether the office of city treasurer should become appointed rather than elected. The ordinance would state the purpose of the referendum, which would be changing from elected to appointed, set the proposed appointment method, which would be essentially the same with the mayor nominating, city council confirming. The direct certification of the question to the Vermilion County Election Authority, which would be the Danville Election Commission. The ordinance placing the referendum on the ballot must be generally adopted at least 79 days before the election. The election official must certify the referendum question to the election authority no later than 68 days before the election. This could be before a primary or a general election. And then specify when the change would take effect if approved. If the referendum passes, the current treasurer completes the remainder of the elected term. Upon expiration of the term, the office becomes appointive, and the mayor and the city council would make the first appointment.
This time I would like to open the floor for discussion. Yes, Chairman Poor.
So the timeline would be prior to the municipal election or prior to the general election in November? When that question would have to be on the ballot?
Before a primary or a general.
So it could be
Either or.
Okay. Because filing packets can be picked up in August for the various positions up for election. So, I mean, if we're gonna do that, the treasurer would still have to go through that process, declaring their candidacy, picking up their packet, getting signatures.
Correct?
And then if the referendum would pass, that would all be for naught because it would become an appointed position,
When the current term expires,
Yeah.
if passed.
which it might.
Yeah.
Chairman, but for clarification, that decision, so if it's referendum, that obviously would not be made until November, a decision until November at least, but if you all decided to do it by ordinance, that could be done at any time.
Okay. That's what was my question on the referendum, if it was gonna be, if it did go referendum, if it was gonna be on the November ballot, which is still, what'd you say, 90 days or 90 some days prior?
79, I think.
Adopted at least 79 days before the election, certified by the election authority no later than 68 days before the election.
Best thing to do is make an ordinance.
Yes, Alderman Teague.
I am curious to know whether or not there would be, well, I was thinking that there would be some issue if these were on the same ballot, but if it's November versus April, then that issue goes away. That's why I raised my hand, because I was thinking about having a referendum on an elected position on the same ballot in which the elected
That's why I was
position was,
asking.
right.
Yeah.
But if it's a November ballot as opposed to the April ballot, then really what ends up happening is anybody who's running for the position of treasurer may be, it creates some issues for that, any individuals who might be planning to run for that position, because typically the petitions for a person to be on the ballot are due about a week after the general election in November.
Which is October this year.
It's October this year?
I think so.
Any further? Yes, Alderman Arns.
I'm not necessarily opposed to a referendum. I guess one question would be is, could it also be an advisory referendum
It is November.
this November? Could it be an advisory? The only problem I have with that is, I think if we treated it as an advisory referendum, I think we're outside of the window of being able to change it by ordinance.
Can you explain
Will you
what an
define that,
advisory?
please?
So an
Advisory,
Yeah.
by advisory, advisory referendum is not binding. So basically, we're polling. It would be like you were polling the people to get their druthers on what they would want to do, if they would want it to be elected or if they would want it to be appointed. If it's a non-binding referendum.
And just to clarify, the reason I suggest that consideration, or whether it's a consideration, is this is not something that the public is tuned into. They don't deal with the treasurer unless they're collecting a check from them. They don't know what the treasurer does. The treasurer does nothing, with all due respect, for the average citizen, because they're there for different purposes other than ensuring the citizens' finances are in order. And so I think it's something that's difficult to get passed by referendum simply because of the angst with government these days. And as I've observed it over the last 20 years, it's a real problem. And my only concern, and that's why I said advisory referendum, I have no problem with the people giving their opinions. I had a call today from a constituent who has hesitation and reservations because what if the mayor doesn't appoint somebody that knows what they're doing? And that's a fair question. I just, in that respect, as I talked with that individual, it's difficult for everyone to explain that an elected official really can't be held accountable once they're in office unless they can commit a felony or do something extremely egregious. And so that's where I don't have a lot of hope that it would probably win a referendum if it was a binding. But if it was advisory and it was closed, maybe that would give some others thoughts. I'm voting for it regardless because I don't think the public understands the problem. And I don't think we want to spend the money to try to educate them on that problem. And so, you know, who would be the advocates? Who would be spending, who would put the money together to put a campaign for an advisory referendum or any kind of referendum? So personally, I'm for the council doing it by ordinance with respect and consideration of the citizens. Let's have citywide meetings or ward meetings and go to all of them and say, look, this is what we're doing, this is why. And if there's a lot of pushback, then maybe those that are hesitant can rethink that. But I'm going to vote for it. I would like to do it by ordinance because we can make it happen with this treasurer in office and have a proper transition and succession going forward.
Chairman Street, thank you, Chairman Streebing.
Well, you guys all know how I feel about this, so I'm not going to rehash. But I think the ordinance is the way to go. There's too many people when you talk to them and you get to, well, I didn't know that happened, or I don't understand that. And here again, they don't understand how you can request something you can't mandate because they're elected position. And the time that they spend in the office, if you actually look at the state statute, is very minimal for the whole year because they have got staff in there to do that for them. I don't want to see us have what we had happen before, because every grant we got from 2017 up until we got this fixed, we should have been paying it all back with interest, and we didn't have the money because we put our faith in an individual, didn't do anything wrong, just didn't do anything. So I don't know most of it was right, but I think the ordinance for us to do it, we dealt with the problem, and it ought to be in-house versus somebody comes in off the street because they're the most popular person here or whatever party's. I'm sorry, we've had that, and it didn't go very well. I can't see spending the amount of money we did before, and next time it could be more. It could be $500,000 to $600,000. It's ridiculous, but I think the ordinance for us to make a decision. This is where it should stay, and this is where it should go. Our constituents believe that we were all voted on to be here. And believe me, if you make a bad decision, you're going to hear about it first thing tomorrow morning or tonight. And most of the things I've ever done, when I go to the neighborhood group meetings, it's a pat on the back or, I like the way you've done that, because there's a lot of them that listen, believe me. So I would say go to the ordinance and let us make a decision.
I want to just remind everybody, for clarity's sake, we were put on a stop payment by the IDOT, Illinois Department of Transportation, for 2 years. There were 2 years that we would have been able to do no road work in the city of Danville if it hadn't been for the exceptional stewardship of our department heads and leaders, and then your support making sure that we had extra money from general fund reserves and also grant money. But guess what? Not only could we have lost the grant money and any potential grant money, they could have put us on a stop order payment for the entire city of Danville. And guess what, folks? You know what that would mean? We would not even get our local sales tax, okay? And imagine if we had no revenue with which to do the business of the city and to help take care of our people and our businesses here in town. I can tell you, because you all have helped us be good stewards, we have a reserve that was only required 1.2 million. We were not meeting that prior to my arrival. It was $300,000 we had there. We upped that to $3 million, and we've returned tens of millions of dollars to the general fund to reserve to do additional road projects, to do additional demolitions and blight removal, to clean up neighborhoods because of the great stewardship of this council and because of our leadership team and their teams. But we would not have been able to do any road work for 2 years had we not been good stewards of other resources. And it could have been all of our money that was on hold. And it also could, as Chairman Streebing so eloquently pointed out, it could not just mean that your money is on hold, meaning you're not getting what's supposed to be coming to you now. You could have to repay what you've received in the past. If that were the case, that would be devastating and crippling for the future of the city of Danville. Yes, Alderman Teague.
There's a concern that whatever direction we go on this, that would need to be addressed. And that is that, from what I've been told, that part of the change of form of government also included that there would be 2 citywide elected positions, one being mayor and the other being treasurer. And taking away the treasurer from a citywide elected position leaves only one. Whether or not that is a concern of the council, I know that is a concern of citizens. And so it needs to be addressed. I have not finalized an opinion on what the move here should be on this. My personal belief is that all decisions should be made by citizens. So that's just my belief in general about all things. As much as possible, we should let citizens say. However, I do understand the concerns that other people have, but I also think we need to recognize the concern that many citizens have as it relates to the form of government, because that has come up in conversations with me on this particular item. The other thing that I want to bring up on this particular item, because I think that one of the reasons why we're looking at this is because we recognize that the issues that we had previously and the jeopardy that it put the city in, that there is also the potential for another course of action, which is allowing for a recall of elected positions so that in the instance that someone is derelict in their duties, they can actually then be removed. The issue that we had previously was that the person was alleged to be derelict in their duties and could not be removed. But if a recall is put on the ballot for elected positions in general, then it allows for a person to be removed for being in dereliction of duties. So it is another option. I'm not saying that it is the option, but it is also an option that would address that particular concern, not just for the treasurer's position, but for any elected position.
And I believe in when they changed that, because for years, the city clerk had to run, and Eisenhower changed that for the clerk's job to the treasurer's position. I believe that's the way it went. I'm not real sure.
That's what that's what I was told previously, but I was younger then.
I don't, it's been too long ago, but I'm telling you, we had to have 2.
You're right.
I don't, well, just, first of all, we're going back a long ways
Yes,
now. We're talking
yes.
going from Marge Care to Jan
yeah,
Marge.
yeah.
Since I started in 1990, there was always a city treasurer hired at large. It was Herb Hales at that time, which was its own mess in and of itself,
Yes.
and followed by Gail Brandon, who then served 4 uninterrupted terms citywide. And I could be more comfortable with something like that if I thought it was doable, but years ago when I looked into that, recall was not an option.
Recall is not constitutionally permissible, I believe, currently.
It is permissible if the people decide that they want it to be permissible. It could be permissible if it's decided by referendum that we as a home rule city can. In the research that I've done on this particular topic, when the city of Dalton tried to recall their mayor for dereliction of duty, they put it on the ballot as a referendum, and it passed. The problem that they had was that they also had on the same ballot at the same time for the mayor to be removed. So you had two questions on the ballot that were referendum. Number one, can we have a recall? Yes or no? The people said yes. Number two, can we recall this mayor? And the people said yes. And then there was a lawsuit in which the state Supreme Court decided this was illegal because those two things were on the same ballot. So, could we have a recall? Yes, if we put it on the ballot. As long as we don't try to remove the person at the same time. So if you have a recall on the ballot and the people decide, yes, we would like to be able to recall elected officials, then you have it. And then if we find that somebody is in dereliction of duty, then we can put it on the ballot for a person to be recalled. So if you have a treasurer or any other elected position for which somebody might be in dereliction of duty and they have not committed a crime, which is the only thing that we could remove them for now, if a recall is already on the books, then the people can recall that elected official. That was what the Supreme Court, at least in my research of that Supreme Court decision, that's the way that I understood it.
In just a brief glance at this, I'm not sure that I see it that way, but we will have Corporation Counsel look into this and see. But it's my understanding that there is no method. From what I can see, they ruled that it was invalid because the state constitution did not allow for someone to be recalled midterm. But I will have Corporation Counsel look into that for us.
Yeah, I think there were other problems with the Dalton case, one of which was it did not provide for the removal for any office other than the mayor. There were constitutional issues. But yeah, there were many problems with the way they went about. I don't think the court said that the drafting of an ordinance and of the referendum that it would not be illegal. It's just the way they went about it.
And I'm not suggesting that we have to go that way. I'm just providing information to say, when we're looking at how we resolve a specific type of problem, because the reason why we're having this conversation is because we had a specific type of problem. So if we're looking at methods for resolving that problem, one of those could be, let's make the position appointed, in which case the person could be fired. And another could be, let's keep it as is and have a referendum for recall. And it's just information, because I know that we all get to vote on what happens. So I'm not married to any particular direction, just sharing information and options.
It says the appellate court held that the village had no authority to recall a village official midterm. The court pointed to Illinois history of no public official ever being recalled midterm by a referendum vote, regardless of whether a recall mechanism was in place before the public official's term began.
What did it went to Supreme Court after that?
Well, I'll have the Corporation Counsel give us a final. Yes, Alderman.
If we go by ordinance, can the council also put in some minimum requirements that the mayor has to state that the treasurer has these requirements? Can we put that in the document?
Yes, you could. But I think that the best control you have also is in concurring or not concurring with the appointment.
Well, but
Job description.
A job description, yes.
Job description.
Absolutely, you could. Yes, Alderman Cooper.
Well, I agree with what Rick said, and I agree with the ordinance too. I think we probably should pursue that one. I feel more comfortable that way than the other way.
I will. Yes, Alderman Arns.
Sorry, Mayor, but could you also have legal or perhaps an outside legal, if you so chose, render an opinion that this does not conflict with the consent decree. I don't read the consent decree that way regarding this position, but it would be nice to have an attorney that is not in the game, so to speak, also render that, or have Leon reference that. Thank you.
In preliminary understanding, it does not, but I will have that verified. Thank you. All right. So, unfortunately, we need to make a decision one way or another sooner rather than later. So my proposal would be to bring this to you for discussion at Public Works again, for further discussion at the next council meeting, for further discussion at the Public Services Committee meeting, and then to bring an item for you for vote one way or another with the pleasure of the alderman at that time. And although I'm not asking you tonight because I know you've just received information and we need time to consider and think through things, I would like your advisement as to if the city should proceed via ordinance or via referendum. And if we should proceed by a referendum, what type of referendum? So I apologize. Oh, go ahead.
And we also see a possible ordinance in front of us before we.
Yes. Mr. Butler.
Yeah, I'm looking at the agenda here. Are we gonna have some item of information after we come from closed session or what?
No, sir. The items of information will be before we go to closed session in just a moment.
Yeah,
here.
okay, yeah, so I can talk about what I need to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm still trying to understand the ramification around the rentals, the landlords, about evicting or moving people out for turning in what's going on in the homes. Is it my understanding that they can't evict a tenant out of the home for turning in to someone about what's going on? Well, like our inspectors. Because I was very much disturbed today when I saw these pictures of this one home. And the lady was complaining about black mold. And I was actually pissed off to hear that this black mold and then had those mushrooms growing on the inside of that person's house around that black mold, and he's getting ready to evict her out of the home, and she don't have anywhere to go right now. The contractor quit because he asked the contractor there to kind of just to cover it up, clean it up, and cover it up instead of, pulling out the wall and then redo it. And so I'm glad I'm not back in my day. Yeah, because I'd have looked for him. Yes, I would have, to allow somebody there to live in something like that. And she's trying to get it fixed. And then the contractor quit because the landlord there wanted him just to cover it up. And so do we have a rule or resolution to where that we can help tenants like that they won't lose or get put out of the home?
So, Alderman Butler, and maybe you can provide me some information after the meeting, but first I'd like to know, has this tenant contacted the legal department or gotten online to make a complaint? Have they contacted the city at all? Because that would be the first step so that we could get all the information. And then what you're describing sounds like retaliation against the tenant for making what sounds like a legitimate complaint about the conditions of the rental property. So there'd be some information that we want to get, and then from there we'd look into the matter.
Yeah, but okay, then I'll call her tonight and ask her so she can fill out a complaint there with us. The human relations, and then we'll deal with the issue.
Yeah,
because she's getting ready to go to court.
That would be with legal. She would file it with Leon's
Yeah, with
submission.
legal.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. T.
I am wondering about the status of the Lockmuller Riverfront concept design. I know that from my notes from prior meetings, I had asked about it July 1st of last year. And then when the second voucher was issued, the first voucher that was issued on July 1st, at least the first voucher that I noticed. And then the second voucher was issued in December. And in December, I think we were told that that we were gonna get a presentation on the concept design in January. So I'm just wondering the status of that, because at this point, we spent just under $50,000 on the concept design, but we haven't seen the concept design yet.
I will. So we're in process of design right now, in-house, and using the conceptual designs that got put together. So I will get with engineering and see what we can do to get something sent out to you guys on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Pickering.
This weekend, I just want to tell you, I really enjoyed the show at the Fisher, but what I really enjoyed the most was seeing the families and the kids there that was enjoying it. And not only that, knowing that some of those families would never been able to afford seeing anything like that. So thank you, Rihanna, thank your staff, and thank the Fisher Theater, because it was good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, yes, Alderman.
One little problem in the city, especially around my area, with all this rain and the grass growing, I've got several areas where we've got houses we've torn down, we've got empty lots and stuff. The easement has grown up so high that people can't walk down the sidewalk. The easement and the grass is so high. Is it possible for the city to at least take care of some of that easement?
That's an item that I know our Public Works is working on putting together a schedule for already. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I had one over the weekend. One of my constituents come to me, and she talked to the inspector out in my ward, and he says, well, just talk to your alderman about bad grass. I said, okay, that's fine. Like, I can do so much. Did you give her the app? Did you tell her how to do this? No, just go see your alderman. That's okay. So I had to go to Indianapolis and come back. And when I come, I'm exact same thing that Mike's talking about. And I was late by one day, and I got a memo. I'm just like everybody else. Sometimes I forget, and I get scolded too. It's like going to the teacher in the principal's office. But my grass was taken care of that afternoon. The guy looked at it in the morning. Now, he told me he wouldn't be back in probably for a week to 10 days, which I couldn't understand that neither. But I'm just like Mike. Every one of the little pockets that you've got are houses that were torn down because they were going to put a one-way street in. They were taller than what my grass was on mine. And I don't mind taking the memo or whatever, because I'll take it. And I've been fined before for my garbage out early or late. So hey, you're not getting a virgin here. So I'm just saying, with all the rain and everything, you got to give some people a little bit of slack, because you guys aren't doing it as well as you should be. And I got to talk to these people when they're mad and angry. So thank you.
Alderman Arns.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
One of the things along those lines, if we could have council review, I know communities have ordinances regarding shoveling of sidewalks. And they're able to enact those ordinances, and those people have 7 days to perform the activity, or the city does it and they get billed. Council Parker shared with me a document that he had shared with other elected officials previously on how long it can take to cut grass. Let's find out what statute they're using to prosecute people that quickly with 7-day notice. We've got some in ours that haven't been mowed once yet this year, and sadly, there's people living in it, and there's a mower in the garage.
Yeah.
But it's very frustrating for those that are trying to take care of their properties, and we all know how that is. The other item of information I have is, and is that where we're at yet?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Is at the Public Services Committee, would like to have a review of the council procedures regarding audience comments. And two specific things I would like to discuss are the ability of an alderman to extend additional time that once occurred that is no longer provided for, as I understand the ordinance, so that if someone's time went up and an alderman wanted to recognize them for an additional 3 minutes, that was permitted. I don't think that's provided for anymore. The other thing is how that gets enforced then, if that does not. So if we can put that on for discussion, I don't care if it's council or public services, whichever it is. Thank you.
Any other items of information? Yes, Mr. Butler.
Yes, I just got one there too, back on the grass. I could remember back, during Robert Board's days, that he had a great relationship. He knew the people that was gonna cut their grass because they cut their grass. And I kinda think our inspectors that need to build a better relationship with the people that's in their ward or in their area. And because I know for a fact, they're from contractors, told me that, hey, Mr. Butler, it's a political thing. I said, well, I hope not. And they trying to make a name for themselves, and I hope not. Yeah, because if I find out, it's gonna be some repercussions. And so, I think that they really do need to build a better relationship, with the people in their ward. I got a letter at the church. They know I cut their grass, and I was out of town, and hey, Mr. Butler, man, the grass get a little high. Hey, man, I'm jumping on it there tomorrow. And we don't waste all this paper. You get about 3 or 4 sheets of paper in the mail. Something that, these poor trees is dying and everything, it could have saved, some work, some paperwork. Build a relationship, with the people.
Well, what I would tell you is from my experience overall, our inspectors do have a great relationship with the citizens. I get thanked all the time from community members. Thank you guys for taking care of that bad house. I put in a complaint and the inspector was right on it. So I'm sorry if someone in your ward had a bad experience. I'm sure, like anything, there can be exceptions to excellent service, but I am of the opinion from what I hear from our citizens and overall from our business people that they receive excellent customer service. And I also want to make sure that we always, one of the problems in the complaints, one of the problems that I had when I was on the council and one of the complaints that I heard was about unequal treatment, right? They go really hard after people they don't like, or they don't know, or that live in certain areas, but then they let other people go free. Well, what I would submit to anyone is my parents have received 2 citations for the house that I grew up in that they still own that my aunt lives in. And if my mama and daddy are not going to be free from from being required to follow the law, then probably no one is. They should expect equal treatment. One of the biggest problems we have, Mr. Butler, you know this because you live there, is all of these people who are not taking care of their properties. So I can't, I don't. So I tell my people, oh wait, don't send the church a letter. Then people say, oh, well, mayor is favoring Butler. See, they live in the same ward. That was his mentor when he was growing up. He's an alderman. They're not treating everybody the same. So in terms of making sure that we treat everybody the same, we have to make sure that we follow our rules equally, because I don't want to be accused of, or furthermore, be guilty of inequitable treatment.
Yeah, well, I'm not looking for no extra treatment. I'm just saying is that they can save themselves some paperwork. They know I'm going to cut the grass at the church. And, why, give the church a citation when the grass is going to get cut? I don't want I am told, Dave, I don't want no special treatment. You just do what you need to do there, but they know I'm going to get the job done. Save some trees.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Ms. Teague.
I'd like to follow up on the request that I made, I think, for a couple of city council meetings as it relates to the tree grant, how much money might be left and available to help citizens address some of their issues. My understanding is that some of our citizens have had issues with insurance, particularly as it relates to a tree falling on houses, and then the insurance denied them because it's an act of God. And we know that these trees have died, and they've died while we have been trying to mitigate the dead tree issues that we're having throughout the city. If there's any available funds to potentially help those citizens, as well as just looking to see, making sure that people are aware of what's going on with the whole tree thing, because it has come up in a couple of city council meetings. So I know nobody has answers for me right now, but I would love to be able to get some in the near future, because as many of our citizens are dealing with their insurance claims right now for any damages as a result of the storm and the trees, I think that would be helpful information, and if we can help them, we should.
I will give you an update as to where we are with our spending. I'll have our team get that update for you, Alderman Teague. What I will submit to you, though, is this. I want to help our citizens as much as or more than anyone else. However, we were given a grant for the city to remediate issues that we know exist on our property. We have spent an extensive amount of time and money identifying the issues that we have. Now that we have identified them and we've received money to remediate those issues, if we do not remediate those issues, then we are allowing an ongoing liability for our citizens. I've seen trees in public right-of-ways fall on people's cars, fall on people's houses, just as you're talking. So we have to make sure that we take care of our responsibility first, and in doing so, that will allow us to make sure that we protect and take care of our citizens. It also would prevent us from being sued if we know that there's an existing liability. We had resources to take care of it that we were granted, and then we chose not to.
I think you misunderstood what I was suggesting. I was not saying that we should not take care of our responsibilities first. And I believe the first time that this was brought up, what was said was that, we spent less money than we originally allocated, therefore we might have money left over. So all I was asking was for an update of where we were and if there is money left over. If we don't have money left over, then we can't help anybody, but at least we've done the analysis. So really it's just an update of where we are to see if we can help citizens. And if we can't help citizens, that's okay. We can also let them know that we don't have anything available for them. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarification. That's helpful. At this time, yes, Alderman Jones.
Just a comment about the maintenance of alleys, because I've been getting a lot of complaints about the alleyways, because I know we don't keep maintenance on alleys anymore, I believe so. I heard that from somebody in Public Works. But I know from the past storms that we've had, that was a big issue because we don't keep the maintenance of the alleys anymore. I don't know if it's like the constituents' problem, or it might be Ameren, because Ameren has rules and regulations that you can't cut trees and stuff. But I believe that we need to get back into maintaining the alleys. For the violence part, for safety, for the buildings, for houses, because a lot of people have problems and don't have insurance to fix their garages or houses if trees are falling on them. It's a lot of problems with the alleyways.
No, I understand. Thank you for that, Alderman. I appreciate it. One thing that I would really encourage you, Alderman, is that if you have issues, I would strongly encourage you to notify the department or division heads and or myself ahead of time, because we can't help you resolve that problem in the middle of the meeting. And if the first time we've heard at it is a meeting, then we have not really had an opportunity to address your problems. So please let us know when there are issues, and we will make sure that we work hard to do that.
Yeah, I understand that. I just wouldn't know unless a storm happened and everything got destroyed at people's houses and stuff. So yeah.
Of course, I understand. I'm just saying generally, please do let us know, and we will do our best to make sure that we are attentive to it. We want to make sure we take care of our people.
I got to make a comment when he talked about Illinois Power. I've got a rental out on Porter Street. The lady calls me 3 days later. She didn't tell me ahead of time. Illinois Power was out, and they trimmed these trees up just so pretty. And you know where they left them? All over the place in the backyard.
Yeah.
Now here's what they didn't do. When I had them there about a year or two ago, when they have the company that comes in, I had 6 guys stand in that backyard, and I said, "What about fixing this and this and this? We'll have to get with our leader." I got mad at them because they put a big rut in the front yard. They got in their trucks and never seen them back again. So I guarantee you, what I've got in the backyard, I'm gonna have to clean up myself. But here's what's really nice about it. Last year when we had it, there was a power line that come down. They fixed it and cinched it up perfect. I've got other lines that I don't know what they are. I don't know if they're AT&T, I don't know if they're cable. There's probably 5 of them. And I'm telling you what, you probably remember years ago, Doug, when we had the problem out at Fair Oaks with the wires, the clothesline bolt. If somebody goes through that backyard, I don't know how they're gonna get back here, but if they do, they're gonna hang themselves on that wire because it's not even 6 foot tall. This is why they left everything for me that I'm gonna have to deal with now.
I apologize. We do need to go into closed session briefly. At this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session under Section 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act to approve closed session minutes. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Butler,
Nope.
DeToy,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
Hightower,
Who was that you say?
Johnson,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
No.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
No.
Levin, yes.
11 yes, we are adjourned to closed session. The only action to be taken afterward would be potentially the approval of closed session minutes.
The only thing you've done made my job a lot easier.
Congratulations.
I'm not gonna fight this.
Before you guys get in there, you're very animated.
keeping track.
I'm not gonna fight.
Remember Dale Brandenburg some years? Brandenburg used to know the most. I'm done.
That's correct. It's not a position that
Really?
citizens or taxpayers that
When they call. Why bother me? Sorry. You gotta pick your poison.
Hey. Hey.
I work so many hats, sometimes I let things go because I'm here. And if I don't pick up the packet,
I think the ordinance needs to go because nobody's the actual representatives of the citizens.
Oh, okay. My grandkid did that to me one time.
Yeah, he got sent to the teacher. I had to go to the principal. Sister to the van didn't like to see me arrive. You're in, but you keep making adjustments like you're like that once a year. Like if I'm looking at those numbers, I'm gonna start to feel like.
They're mostly set. The only thing that would go back is like if you close that field that still want to put enough money on it, it may go back. Or if we're making adjustments for the auditors, which we haven't made any adjustments.
So many like encumbrances.
Yeah.
Like today I was going through the money and I'm like, we're overspending a lot of categories, but it's because you're.
Yeah. We'll call them up and I go, hey, you'll get
Yeah.
But I just always find But the good news is like the audit's on track, so it'll get cleaned up a lot faster. Because sometimes what happens is like there's a lot of like accruals that will come back in those lines.
Did you call 911?
No, I didn't. I didn't call 911 because I didn't think, actually it went through my people, that I didn't think that, if you don't that urgent, nothing really will be happening. They're not supposed to.
I know, it's frustrating. It's called the small business initiative, which is if you could apply.
Okay.
Just lower the $12, which is your bonding. One quick logistics question. The 12 million could be actually 12 million.
Right.
I know, 16 million. All I wanna know from you is.
Well, meanwhile, I got Tim over here going, yeah, I should IEPA, and I'm like, great, nice.
Speculation only is, they actually have no way to call the two presidents. I think probably makes a little sense. Requires the foundation that will also put together things.
Oh, no, no, yeah.
So, that version is, they build this base. It's frustrating, it's frustrating to me, because we have a good,
Yeah, okay.
but, our, for that same price, instead of, when, discussed about, okay, what if the officers were to hurry up, get out with the person, get their name, and get their information, seize whatever they have, document it really quick on a note card, and then turn it over to, office staff to write out the citations
Hey,
later.
Chief, was there an incident today in the apartment building across from the post?
Yes.
All right, I was called, by the time I got down there, you guys were gone, so somebody just burned something?
Yeah, she felt so good, so down pretty quick. One of them says, I should just dedicate two to do.
Well, like you had to evacuate the place.
No, they, I said that would be great. An hour maybe.
Gotcha. Good to hear, thank you.
But you could sign, but it take
One
too
lady
long
was,
to get there.
yeah, one lady was, she was transported. There's not a good
Gotcha.
I was, okay, so I used to love fireworks. I used to love the 4th of July. Still love the 4th of July.
Yeah, I do too.
But I sweat it because
No wonder you do.
I sweat it every
in Tennessee, so I just
So
need to
moved.
see what days that is.
Alderman, at this time, I would entertain a motion to return. It was moved by Chairman Streeting,
Second.
seconded by Chairman Poor. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. At this time, I would entertain a motion to postpone item 15, a resolution releasing certain closed session minutes until the July 21st meeting. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Butler. DeToy.
Yes.
Pashard.
Yes.
Hightower.
Yes, ma'am.
Johnson.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Poor.
Yes.
Strebing.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
14 yes.
14 yes, the motion carries. Having satisfied the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Have a good